I joined because I just love being in a team where everybody kind of has the same likes and differences, because we all kind of are nerdy and like to game and have fun.
I believe in STEM. I think it's great for kids. It's hands-on. It teaches them how to problem solve.
I want to be a robotics engineer when I grow up, and I feel like this will give me a good thing to put on my college application, and B, will give me a good jump start on programming and building robots.
How would I explain video games to a person like Leonardo da Vinci or Leonardo da Vinci? Okay. Leonardo da Vinci kind of pioneered, it's a technique, he pioneered photography because it's thought that he used a technique of pinhole cameras to paint some of his works. This is a theory anyway, that he pioneered photography. So he was on the cutting edge of technology of his day.
You know, he created more than just beautiful like works of art. He created, machines, helicopters, like, flying machines. You did so much more than that.
I guess would be dependent on how much he was willing to look into it and learn. Whether was he scared of it or would he be fascinated by it?
I would say interactive moving stories. Because 9 times out of 10, I would say at all times there's some kind of story, to the video game, whether it be just in the context of what you're doing in the game or kind of what it means to you. It's like an ongoing thing.
I would try to actually show him. The trick would be getting him to pick up a joystick and giving it a try with an open mind.
I'm not sure how I could really explain it to him other than to have him play it and experience it for himself.
I didn't know the guy personally, so I don't know if he had an open mind or not. I would think he would, but I don't know, we might have like a Bill and Ted's moment there, Maybe they'd be scared of it and maybe they'd embrace it,
I think there's a stigma behind video games where a lot of people who aren't into video games just see, just one small fraction of video games. But again, this is just all perspective, right?
If you spend any amount of time really getting into a crafted experience and really going through what these people have spent a big chunk of their lives creating, you'll understand that it is absolutely a creative process.
I think most of the people that dismiss video games as art, they're assuming, they're buying into the misconceptions, the media-driven misconceptions that are out there, that this is just some kid's toy.
It's all about the transition and the transcendence of the medium through art and how that plays out.
Art to me is the artist communicating to the viewer through a medium of some sort.
I believe the sooner that everyone kind of embraces video games for what they are, is that they're video games and they do have an intrinsic artistic value, the better off we're going to be, as a society, as fans of video games.
Welcome everyone to episode 55, Ladies of the Roundtable, or LORT Live. We are up, we are live, the red dot is on. This week, we're playing Roundtable Roulette again with the hosts, and our lovely Kimmy is out this week, and in place of her, we have the cupcake, because you guys asked for it. The cupcake is real. With me this evening is the ever so lovely, my wife, Nikki. Somewhere.
Hey guys, good to be back.
And Miss Pixie. Hey! And Paige 6. Always looking so glamorous with the hair flowing. She's a little under the weather, guys, so cut her some slack on the coughing or whatever's going on over there, but send her good vibes.
That's happening.
And of course, our guest this week, Richard James Cook, the director, the think tank behind Pixel Poetry, a Devolver film. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in and sitting at the table.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
We are excited to delve right into it. So most people have seen the film. By all accounts of our impromptu survey. It was also on the Twitch movie night. So we know a lot of our gamer fans from each of us and yourself have seen the film. Mm-hmm. And I have noticed that the reviews are very positive. We've had some skeptics, some people out there posting some things that have a lot of questions that they probably didn't have before watching the film, which is awesome. It's probably what you wanted to happen. Yeah. And I know our ladies have some questions for you in regards to the film. So we're going to jump right into it. Ian is going to be posting up the links for you guys. So as we're going through the conversation, be sure to check the chat. If you're looking for a particular link, just ask him. He'll throw it up there. And as always, Nikki and Pixie are going to be checking out the chat for your chat questions. And Pixie, what's going to be the keyword for chat questions tonight?
We're going to do hashtag cupcakes.
Hashtag cupcakes. All right, guys, you heard it here first. Hashtag cupcakes tonight. And the cupcakes will be amazeballs. They will. Yes, yes, they will.
Everybody shots!
All right, so I'm gonna let Paige throw out the first question of the night.
Okay.
Throw up.
I actually really enjoyed your movie. I
Thank
watched
you.
it a while ago because Patrick Scott Patterson brought it to my attention.
Yeah, Scott, it's a good dude.
Yeah, he's
Friendship.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've been friends with him for a while. Actually, I was just on the phone with him earlier too, and he's got all kinds of big stuff coming up. I can't even match up to it.
Yeah. Sleeps for the when you're dead.
Oh yeah,
For
pretty
the
much.
wicked.
That's what he does. I mean, and for a guy that busy, he sure does interface with everybody really a lot. I mean, for a guy that busy, I don't even know how he keeps up with his email inbox. It's ridiculous. So
Yeah, I can't even keep up with my own.
yeah, I can't. Yeah.
I wanted to know, how did you get involved with Devolver?
Actually, that's a pretty interesting story. It's kind of one of those things to where it was a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of somebody I met a year ago type of thing. You know, it's interesting how that happens in the industry in general or in any industry. It's just who you know and the opportunities you get from that. So to go kind of far back on that, I started talking with a guy over LinkedIn. I had befriended somebody on LinkedIn about 2 years ago when I was still in game development and I was working on a game. A gentleman by the name of AJ Chada, and he ran a studio called Ignition Entertainment. They did games like Blacklight Retribution, stuff like that. So he's out in California, out in Santa Monica there, and I interfaced with him for a long time, working on my own indie game a long time ago. And eventually, when I got around to making Pixel Poetry, I really needed some help with getting the word out and possibly getting funding and stuff for it, which is its own story. But yeah, that I don't even want to get into that just yet. But so he introduced me to another guy. He was like, "Here, let me help you out. Let me see if I can get you in touch with somebody who knows how to do the PR thing." And he got me in touch with a guy named Steve Tom Sawyer. And Steve had just come off helping launch Retro Magazine out there in California. And I got to talking with him for a long time. And he you know, he's like a guy who knows so many people in the industry just by way of socializing enough to where it's a natural thing for him. And he got me in touch with a guy named Justin Burnham, who's the operations guy for Devolver. And at first it was kind of like they wanted to sign the film. Actually, that trailer that you showed launching the show here, that was the old trailer. That was the one I put together right like a month after I started shooting. So I put it together with any footage I had just to start getting the word out. And the little fun fact, some of the names at the end of that trailer actually didn't make it into the film. So some of those people are not actually in the film, by way of scheduling and stuff like that. But so I got in touch with Justin and he wanted to sign the film. And the thing here though was that they were only signing complete films at the time. And I had just started production really. So I went on for a while trying to get the film funded before I came back to it and kind of just like asked him if there was anything they could do to help me out. And so he got me in touch with the owner of Devolver, Mike Wilson. And I started interfacing with Mike more about it. And just kind of through that communication over a while, we got to a point to where he said he would get the game side of Devolver to help give me an advance for the film, which was a small advance, but it got the wheels turning, you know?
Yeah. And awesome.
that got me out to San Francisco and doing all that filming and stuff. So Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
interesting how it's that 6 degrees thing. It's so crazy how that works.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. You never know, and it's always weird when you figure out that you know somebody that somebody else knows, like,
Yeah.
completely separately in an industry. It's always interesting to go through that.
I mean, and to be honest too, I mean the people I've met since I've been down here in Austin, it just keeps spreading out. That network just keeps spreading. So I mean, the
There's a
opportunities are
huge
going to.
community in Texas,
Oh
especially
yeah.
there's a huge retro community, especially.
Oh yeah,
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in that
So
little blue
exciting.
spot. So
Not the brain.
yeah.
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 That's pretty cool. Let me see. Do you want me to go? I have another question for you, but I don't want to take up all the questions. If anybody else wants to jump in real quick and ask their own,
let's throw it over to.
Fair warning. I have a tendency to ramble. So.
Hey,
Oh, you're in good company.
it's all about you, sir. It's all about you.
Yeah.
You'll see us ladies, we can do that too.
Yeah.
So let's throw it over to Pixinator.
Okay, so there was a really important court decision, and it's Jacobellis v. Ohio, with Justice Potter Stewart, and it was on the threshold for obscenity, regarding a French film called The Lovers. And my question is, obviously Pixel Poetry is about discussing whether or not video games are art.
Yeah.
So if video games are deemed art, do you believe that the whole idea that Potter Stewart said, which is, I know when I see it regarding obscenity, will help to protect video games and protect our ability to play them in their original form? And is that part of the goal?
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, I'm not as familiar with that particular case, but that brought something to mind in terms of what Adam Sessler, he was talking about in the film, about the Supreme Court decision to make games their freedom of expression. They are art in the eyes of the Supreme Court. And I mean, in so many other things too, like the Museum of Modern Art and the Smithsonian, games are art. It's fully recognized now, and it's kind of just up to people to get on board with that, honestly. So when it comes down to that kind of expression, I think another example I might think of is like the game Hatred, the whole thing with that happened and going on stuff, and how Steam took it down, then they put it back on, because it's like this whole cavalcade of is this artistic expression, even though it's asinine in a lot of people's eyes because of the content. In so many other games, honestly. I mean, Mortal Kombat X just came out, and then that's probably responsible. Mortal Kombat's probably responsible for creating the ESRB, and all that and all that stuff that happened in the 90s. I mean, and even going back further than that, like Death Race, this little red X or this little X on the screen after you run a person over, and it was so removed from being able to tell that was an actual person, or that was gore, or whatever the definition of that kind of thing is, and then to see it come out to where it has been now, it's just it's expression no matter how you cut it. So I think there are probably certain consequences that developers might want to think about when they're doing that stuff, like adult only ratings and stuff like that, because you lose a lot of your distributors in the process of doing that. But all in all, I mean, like any form of art, it's got to be a form of expression, and it's got to be protected in that way too, even if it contains obscene violence and stuff like that.
All right, I'm gonna throw it over to Nikki.
Okay, thank you so much. I look at like gaming because I think I'm the oldest one here at 50, and always find it amazing that this comes up every so often, right? This isn't the first time that people have chimed in about games being art. And, you can go back to those original games with the MIDI music, and I love how they have the concerts of the 8-bit audio from back then. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, if you look at where gaming's gone from the 80s till now, what do you see in the future for like art in gaming? Do you see like museums like starting to carry that type of artwork in there?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a point that I got into early in the film was I think the definition that they separated it by was games as art versus games as high art is what the kind of the blurred line was between those two. And it's talking about like the experiment that I always wanted to like propose was to just go hang a frame from a video game in an art gallery and make it obscure enough to where people aren't really going to immediately be able to tell, or people who don't really play video games aren't going to be able to tell immediately that it's from a video game, and then kind of just gauge them on if it's art, because I think that's probably the missing piece there, is that the associations that video games have with what they started as an entertainment product, and what they kind of can be now versus everything else, because they can do so much more now. They can do so many expressive things now. And even back then they were doing expressive things, but it was the association with the vocabulary that it was associated with that people could not really get it in their minds about video games being art. So I think doing that, that would be an interesting social experiment, because I absolutely think people would immediately see it as art, and no doubt in my mind. But even back then, we're talking about like the MIDI music and and stuff like that. Oh, I forgot his name. The Final Fantasy composer.
Oh,
Does anybody know?
No idea. I know Russell Brower from Blizzard from World of Warcraft. I mean, he does amazing stuff, but I don't know, and I've listened to the music that you're talking about in the concert.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that stuff as well. I mean, well, even like another well-known name, Austin Wintory. A lot of people know him from doing the score for Journey and all that. So, I mean, it's all forms of art to me, just kind of blended together. And I think a lot of people might take the interactivity as something that's not a part of that artistic definition. So that's possibly why people, the general public anyway, might not see it as such.
I think Android thinks the name of the Final Fantasy is Nobuo Uematsu.
Uematsu.
I'm pretty sure I butchered the living crap out of that.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, I think I watched the G4 icons on him a long time ago, and it was hearing the stuff that he came up with that limited tool set. It was just absolutely beautiful music, especially with that kind of limited tool set. So, I mean, when you can convey that kind of emotion with that little resources, I mean, there's definitely some artistry in there to be able to do something like that.
There is a divide in the already established artistic community, though, between fine art and original art versus digital art and fine art as digital art. And part of the issue is that there's no original in digital art, and that's something that definitely bleeds into video games. And what I mean by original is like with a Monet painting, you could have a print of a Monet, but there's the actual painting is what you go to the museum to see. You go to the museum to see the brushstroke, and there's definitely a lack of respect in certain aspects of the artistic community for digital art in general. For people who don't pick up a pencil or who don't pick up a paintbrush and they use a tool or they use some sort of editing on the computer, they don't look at it as the same, or some of them don't even look at it as real. And I think that that's an issue where that would come in if you were to take a frame of a video game and put it into a museum. Whereas, like video games as art have a weird overlap between something that's interactive, something that's beautiful, and something that's like almost like a movie that you observe. So, I think that people have a hard time grasping that.
My reaction to that is like saying like oil paint. was a new medium at one time. You know, when people like Leonardo da Vinci started painting with oil paints and things like that, it's like just a new technology, and it holds better type of thing. I mean, you can call it a technology if you want, or you don't have to call it a technology, but it's a new form of doing a certain thing. So I think between the medium of now with video games versus the medium of painting or something like that, it's just an evolved form of artistry to me, and that's what I've always seen it as. You could even be so indirect as to say that a camera is something that paints pictures with light, because that's basically how the process works. So it's just an evolved form of technology for me to see video games come into it as their own form of art.
Richard, in making the film, it seems that you decided right away that this would be something that would be for everyone. And it really seemed like you did it purposefully, that it could be for gamers and non-gamers. Would you say that's a true statement? Or did that evolve over time as you started progressing through filming?
It definitely evolved. It's pretty interesting how it started out, because whenever I had the concept for the film, it started out as me wanting more than just people in the industry to be in it. I wanted to go to museum curators and things like that and have them speak on the idea of games as art. And unfortunately, that divide on the opinion of games as art is kind of what stopped that in its tracks, because I got in touch with like the Dallas Art Museum, and they kind of vehemently just turned me down and said, no, we're not going to do it. And I don't know if that was because this opinion about it was still, I don't even want to say it was controversial or anything like that, but it's just like, don't bother me with it type of thing. But that at first that hurt the production, because I wanted to have that opposite side's opinion, because I wanted everybody to have a conversation about it. I didn't want this really biased argument for it or anything. And so whenever I was trying to make it for everybody to watch, I was trying to get those people to come in and speak on it. What eventually ended up happening, of course, I mean, I did only have people in the gaming industry in the film, and the fortunate circumstance that came out of that was that they were willing to stand on both sides of that argument. And they actually had this really fair, concise conversation about games as art, and then the reasons for it not be and the reasons for it to be. And they were indirectly discussing it amongst themselves. Even though I filmed all those interviews at separate times, all of them were incredibly reasonable to talk to, and there wasn't much bias at all in my opinion. So it did, fortunately, it came around as something that people could all watch, whether they were into games or not, and hear these interesting statements. And it was really interesting to see it come out that way, considering the circumstances that I couldn't get like a museum curator involved or all the other people that I wanted.
So for some of the people who have left some, we won't say negative comments, but some comments and feedback, either on the message boards or the YouTube or the Twitter, saying that, the film itself could have been better. We'd like to see X, Y, or Z, or why wasn't this person in the film? I'd like to give you a chance to shut down all the naysayers and explain to them just a little bit in the short context of, this is not an easy process. This isn't something you can just pick up and decide that I'm just going to make a documentary on whatever the subject may be. It's a little bit harder than a lot of people think. And, I'm going to give you the floor so you can speak to, people are going to be watching this on YouTube and 24 hours, or listening on iTunes or wherever we are, and the fans in chat, that maybe you might inspire someone who might be thinking of this could be something that they could do, whether it's in this particular industry or others.
Yeah, so I mean, I did the entire production by myself pretty much, and that means I directed, shot, edited, everything pretty much myself. I was fortunate enough to have a couple friends who had cameras to help me do like pickup shots and stuff, but 95% of the production was completely me. And on top of that, I did the entire thing in 6 months time, and on $3,000 was the total budget of the film. So when you get into filmmaking or something like that, and you find out that $3,000 is nothing, like it's absolutely nothing for a budget, you kind of just have to do with what you can. And I tell you, travel is the most expensive part of that whole process. And I only, unfortunately, I only got to go to 3 cities, but I had so many other cities and so many other people I wanted to talk to. I had my wish list, as I call it, which I had all these people that I was so sure would never talk to me about anything, like, oh, you haven't done anything important, I'm not going to be in your film or something like that. But fortunately, a lot of people in the gaming industry actually really came forward and like, this sounds like a really interesting thing. And it was fascinating to me because you're not used to getting that kind of reaction, especially if you haven't done anything yourself. But the whole process was a learning process for me because it was only my second film, and the whole time I was doing like my first film, Pixels and Polygons, which I filmed it completely on my Galaxy S3 phone. Sound, video, everything. I was doing this the whole time with my phone, just recording all my reactions and stuff, because the film was about me as an independent games developer and all the struggles that envelops. But and I mean, that ended up getting like 55,000 views on YouTube currently or something like that.
Wow.
I mean,
I was one of the viewers. I watched it.
Thank you. Yeah. And that kind of started the process of the whole, the negative comments and stuff like that. So that started the whole process of me thickening up my skin to that kind of stuff, because I fully realized that the film was monotonous as hell, and it didn't feature a lot of game development stuff, but it was literally me experimenting, trying that whole thing. And, on zero budget, I did the whole thing in After Effects, and I didn't know at the time that After Effects was not supposed to be used to make an entire composition for a movie, So I just did that whole thing, and it was a painstaking process. But when I came around to pixel poetry, I got used to starting to use Premiere and stuff like that, and getting through the proper processes and things like that. And I mean, still, I was out in San Francisco. I went and filmed out there, and I was out there like, oh, I'm gonna get to see the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm gonna do all this stuff. No, the whole week I was down there, I saw one street in downtown San Francisco, because I was by myself with like 80 pounds of lighting and camera equipment around my shoulders, walking down the streets between hotels, all kinds of shit. I got kicked off the premises of the Moscone twice for filming there without a press pass. And, it's all these unspoken things you don't really think about when you're in that process. So, yeah, I mean, so that was pretty much that whole thing. And then, of course, the funding thing. I ran an Indiegogo for Pixel Poetry and got like $256 like total.
Yeah.
So that was a massive failure. Yeah. And
so we here at Roundtable do everything for charity. We're all about inspiring the younger generation to break the mold, try to do things a little bit different than maybe we have in the past in our industry, and treat things with a positive attitude and open eyes to be able to accomplish goals and not let anyone shut you down. And I think that what you've just said is kind of inspiring. You took your phone and just filmed a whole movie using a software that everyone told you that, or you didn't know, that couldn't be used for a purpose that you used it for, and still was able to devise, something that everybody was interested in. Or majority of everyone's interested in, and then you were able to, like you said, some of those comments were not the nicest comments, but that did not stop you or persuade you from doing exactly what you did and making the second film. So if you could give advice to these young kids that that we're trying to help out and raise the scholarship money for and do some things in education, what would you say to someone, maybe they're 15 or 10 and they're thinking, man, this is awesome. Can I do this?
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, to come clean completely too, I'm actually not doing as well as I should be doing right now, just due to some outside circumstances with that project. So I'm still very much in the trenches, even right in this moment. Very much like I was when I was making the first two movies and stuff like that. I'm still very much in the trenches, and so it's a process. There's so many factors that goes into it, but it's a process of convincing yourself that you can do it, and then just saying to the moon. Like I said, the wish list. I had people like Jimmy Fallon on my wish list, to talk to about video games. And there's, you got that one part in your head that's saying there's no possible way this person is going to talk to me, but the other part is saying, yeah, you never know, So you just keep pushing it to the limits, and even if you come up short, the first moment you have a thought in your head where you think you're going to fail on something is where it's going to start the process of you not thinking you can finish or do anything. So there's definitely a mentality there that you need to embrace whenever you say, of course I can do this thing. Of course I'm going to be able to shoot a movie with, no money and talk to these people by just writing them an email, which is what I did mostly. I mean, Adam Sessler, a lot of people put him up on a pillar from his G4 days and stuff like that. And a lot of people think he's like this elusive person, but all I did was write him an email, and his publicist at Revision 3 at the time said, like, yeah, sure, he'd love to be a part of it.
Well, I tell you, we've been talking to Adam for a little bit, and he's been elusive for us. So you could throw in a good word. We're really, really excited if we can get him on the show and pick his brain. And there are some people that you have on that wish list that you said you kind of hit the cutting room floor. Have they decided they're gonna not follow you on Twitter, or you've kind of smoothed some of those things over?
Well, I mean, honestly, a lot of the people that were on the wish list were like in cities that I didn't have access to. Like Jonathan Holmes from Destructoid, he was in Pixels and Polygons, my first film. I just wrote him and said, "Can you record you saying some stuff about indie game development?" And he said, "Sure, of course." He does his little thing and he sends me back a video, and I put it in the film. And then it comes around to Pixel Poetry. It's like, yeah, I'd love to have you involved again. Absolutely, sure, I'd love to be involved. But then it came time to me getting to Boston to interface with them, and I just didn't have the resources or the funding to do that. So unfortunately, I couldn't have them in the project. And it was like that with a lot of people, honestly. But I did my thing when I went out to San Francisco as GDC. So a lot of people were in town, in the industry, and I was using it as my one fell swoop to get like as many interviews as I possibly could. And unfortunately, it worked out for the most part. Like even Kelly Santiago, I had her in the film, and she wrote me an email back saying like, I'd be honored to be in your film or something like that. And I was just like, flattered by that, because I didn't know what to think about. I was like, wow, that's really nice. Because she's obviously kind of a big deal, So and then of course, like, meeting her too is, I do my professional thing. I go up for the handshake and she comes up and gives me a hug. And so it's just kind of that nice sense of community whenever you get to meet people like that you kind of put on the outside and think there's no way I could possibly get to that person. So just don't be afraid, for the people out there who want to make movies or make games or anything, just don't be afraid to just jump right in and try different things. I mean, you're gonna get refusals for one reason or another, but you can't let that sway you. You just got to jump right in.
So we have a couple of chat questions.
Sure.
What exactly inspired you to do this?
To do Pixel Poetry?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole games as art thing, I guess by this point, was kind of getting repeated attention by the time I actually started it anyway. So I read an article talking about it, and there wasn't really a movie or a series of anything that really spoke heavily about it. And I wanted to try to get to the people outside of gaming mostly who don't really understand it and don't really understand the things that video games can do these days, because they might be too used to this idea of what games were in the 90s, which were hugely an entertainment product mostly. So the things that they're doing nowadays, I really wanted people to be able to watch the movie and just be like, wow, I didn't know games could do that. You know, like I didn't know games were capable of doing this type of thing or conveying this kind of expression. And by the time I actually released the movie too, the games art thing was actually kind of an old tired debate. Like we've kind of moved past that now. So I'm pretty sure if I would have released it a year earlier, it would have been a lot more relevant, but that's just kind of like the woes of production. So I just went ahead and finished it with what I could. And then honestly too, I had a Destructoid article right off of that first trailer you guys showed, and I got into a discussion with the people on the comment board there, and it was kind of that same thing, like, well, video games as art is kind of a tired debate thing now, like why are we still talking about this? And so I did decide eventually at that point to expand the meaning of the film to the whole violence in games, the role indie games have played in terms of becoming more of that expressive thing as opposed to like the safe AAA titles, and just expanding the meaning of what games have become in the future. Yeah. So.
And having worked in game development, is there anything you're more likely to forgive a developer or a game for?
Forgive as in like what context?
I'd say bugs and or glitches, just anything that you're more willing to overlook.
Sure. I mean, if you're speaking to like bugs and things specifically, it's kind of interesting because I'm actually studying right now under Warren Spector at the University of Texas.
Wow.
In Austin. So I'm part of his program, which is called the Denia Sam's Gaming Academy, and they selected 20 people to come in, and they pay us to be there, but they only select 20 people to come in, and they teach us like the leadership skills and the studio management and things like that. Like you already have to have the technical skills to go into this program. And the bug thing's funny to me because we actually just had a lecture from one of our instructors a couple weeks ago talking about how most titles will ship and they have this safe percentage that they use for how many bugs are still in the game at shipping time. So I think it was something like 17% or something like that, because bugs, like anything else in game development, they have to have priority, because if you have game-breaking bugs, you can't ship. You know, which I'm not pointing any fingers, but some companies have shipped with game-breaking bugs.
We do it.
We point
okay.
fingers.
We point the finger.
What game? I don't know of any games like that.
I think the most recent.
Point you to some past episodes, Nikki.
Yeah, just check out our YouTube. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm pointing. I'm pointing the finger to EA right now, but that's, that goes without saying.
Don't say anything bad about them because they're doing Battlefront.
We're trying to give them another shot.
I'm holding out for that game. I just saw the reveal for it today.
And we'll be talking about that a little later in the show. Speaking of which, guys, we need to push on to our next topic. If there's any more chat questions in chat, throw those up with your hashtag cupcake so we can get to those. I think we're going to go with, let's go with Paige. Let's go with Paige's topic first.
My topic is awesome.
What is it? Amazing.
It's the Batman vs. Superman trailer for Dawn of Justice that came out.
Wait, bat flick? What?
A bat flick? Bat flick.
A bat flick? We're gonna watch a bat flick?
Uh-oh, it's about to get hashtag Nipplegate again.
Uh-oh.
That could be my Batman any day. He looks amazing. He looks incredible. I've never had a problem with
They
Batfleck,
changed his
though.
voice completely too, though. So.
I don't think that's his voice. I have a feeling.
I don't know
that's
if it is
his
his voice. It's like they got James Earl
Voice
Jones.
over, yeah.
No, I think that's
They got Samuel L. Jackson in there, right?
I have a feeling that's going to be the villain. I think that sounds like that might be Doomsday, or maybe even Darkseid if they're going to go the equivalent to Marvel with the Thanos route. I hope they do, to be honest with you. I'm not so I would like to see my DC epic, come to life. And I'm probably not gonna follow a lot of the side movies. I have zero interest in Suicide Squad, but
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a whole nother show
especially
right
after
there.
seeing that Jared Leto picture.
Woo, tell us how you really feel.
I mean, like, if people are excited about it, let him be. I mean, Harley Quinn right now is one of the best-selling comic books, so I'm not gonna debate with the DC crowd right now over what they should be watching or reading. They can watch whatever they want.
Well, what was
But-
I was reading something about how Joker's not even supposed to be in Suicide Squad or something, and they just like shoehorned him into the movie. I read something on that.
Joker was a few years ago with the New 52, which is the Suicide Squad was entirely New 52. They canceled Secret Six for Suicide Squad, which annoyed a lot of people. Secret Six was fantastic. And Suicide Squad's okay. The book is okay. They had an event where Joker was kind of all over the Batverse a couple years ago, and Joker was in the Suicide Squad run. And naturally, because Harley is in the Suicide Squad, Harley's the main character in it.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
so it makes sense for the Joker to be in the movie. I kind of feel that's a little for Joker, but we've already had, our Joker movies. So I think it's okay for DC to take that aside and make and focus on other villains, because they have some really interesting ones, especially with Superman coming into the mix. But
So does everybody watch the trailer? Everybody here at the table watch the trailer?
I saw the phone camera version of it in the movie theater when they linked it.
I'll throw the link
That was
up
the
for you
version
guys
I
in
saw.
chat.
I didn't see the actual version of it online yet. So.
Yeah, so for those of you in chat who haven't seen it, we threw up the link. You can check that out. You can tweet at us, let us know what you think. Tag your favorite host or tag us all. We'll get back to you on your comments. Or you can always check. What is that? What is that website that they can ask us the questions, Miss Page, that you get blown up every week?
I actually have a fan question at Ask FM, but I haven't had a relevant guest to ask it. But yeah, it's
Right.
Ask FM.
Ask FM, they ask all kinds of inappropriate things.
You have to ask me inappropriate questions on Ask FM. Where you're gonna do it. But
Right.
The movie looks like they took a lot from Frank Miller's Batman, and it looks like they're really making his heroes, and I am excited for that, because I think that Nolan's Batman in particular was very street level, was very human, and and I'm actually really interested in hearing what you have to say about it, Pixie, because I know that you're a huge DC fan as well. And you're on Infinite Crisis all the time, but aside from that, I know that you're also a huge DC fan, and from what I understand with me and Pixie is that we're not really huge Marvel readers. We're much bigger into DC, and I've enjoyed the Marvel runs in film, and I enjoyed Daredevil. I can't say I've been enjoying all the TV shows. That would be a lie. But Marvel's been doing a great job, and I'm excited to see it. I hope that DC keeps the ball up. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think Nolan did amazing. Like, holy crap. Bravo. The thing is what I always love to see, especially with regards to like Superman and Batman, is what a lot of people don't know is New York City is Metropolis during the day. New York City is
I
Gotham
noticed that. I
during
completely
the night.
noticed that in Dark Knight Rises.
That's actually what it is.
It's supposed to be New York and Chicago.
Is New York at night. Metropolis is New York during the day. That's actually basically what they're based off of. So I love that, and I love that if you look at Superman and Batman as like their actual real identities, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, they very much fit that. They're kind of this awkward like night and day, and so I really want to see that play in that movie. Like, I really want to see that weird dichotomy of like almost evil and like really, really pure and good.
This is what I don't know right now.
Amoral,
Did you
not
read?
evil.
Did you watch? Did you read Frank Miller's Dark Knight Rises? Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight
Yes.
Returns. Yeah, I always say Rises because of the movies. You did, right, Nikki?
Yeah, I the
Yeah.
day it came out.
All right.
I'm that
Well,
old.
I mean, did you watch the trailer, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Doesn't it feel like that book to you?
Well, are you
That's
looking?
what it feels like to me.
But is it because you read that scene in the graphic novel and that's what you're waiting for? I mean,
Well, I mean, the costume looks like it too.
yeah,
The
yeah,
Batman
it
costume
is.
looks like it. The bat symbol looks like it. They definitely took visual cues from Miller.
Yeah, I mean, but the Chris Nolan Batman was more likely to fit into that world than what this guy's gonna.
But is he supposed to be like an old Bruce Wayne? Because I mean, I saw Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I've seen pictures of it.
Isn't this the
Kind of
prelude?
old to me.
It's the prequel, yeah.
This
Yeah, I know, he
but this
looks-
is this is the prelude to the Justice League, right?
This is why I'm confused. Yeah,
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to be
very-
the
it's
dawn
very
of the Justice
confusing.
League. Yeah,
Because
but it feels like Miller to me.
Yeah, because Miller was at the end of Batman's reign, at the end of his life, you know?
Yes.
He was broken, he was insane, he was gone. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, and you know, I'm not as much of a fan as of DC movies as everyone else is. There's some that really made it for me and some just didn't do it, you know?
Uh-oh,
So
Fix
this-
is making the face.
So bad. Like some of them were so unbelievably bad that you just want to like crush your television.
yeah, I mean, Chris Nolan saved it for me, you know? It's like the three Batman movies.
I did not like
It's all
that.
about WB.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna
Basically,
give you
really
I'm gonna
bad.
give you a PSA. If you are new to the show and you haven't watched us before, please excuse the raid hole noise that comes out of Pixie whenever she gets excited. You might want to turn
Yeah.
your volume down just a little bit
A
because
lot of it. A lot of it.
Sound.
A lot of
forewarning.
it.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to attempt to reserve judgment until I can actually watch the film in its
Right.
entire context, because I do have some, all the feels about this one. Like most of us geeks and nerds out there, we get a little rowdy about our classic things. So
Yeah.
we have to kind of back off the throttle a little bit because
I don't know if I'd be dropping a spoiler alert saying bat armor.
Right?
Bat-
I mean, yeah.
I think it's supposed to be the like his robot suit because he's fighting Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, like that.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Well, it got
It's,
me- it
it's
got
his
me thinking,
kryptonite suit.
And
Yeah.
well, actually, he doesn't know. I don't think he knows about kryptonite yet.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
speculation going on.
I really don't understand why Superman is just not like, here, I'm gonna take everyone I don't like and I'm just gonna put you on the sun. Have fun, vacation.
Alright,
Suntan
I have-
lotion.
Pretty much.
I have a question though that's really getting on my
Vodka.
nerves. All right, that voice at the end of the trailer, "Tell me you bleed." Now that sounds a lot like a Miller Batman to me.
Yeah.
It does. It could
That's
be.
what Batman's
and
saying.
but I think that's Doomsday.
Hey,
And
somebody do a straw poll.
I think
That's
that's
all I gotta say.
Doomsday or Darkseid?
I have it in my head. It's Doomsday though. I
Tweet
think
it
it's
out.
Doomsday. But
We will see, Miss Page. We will see.
It's
I think
amazing.
we're all
I hope they
across the table excited to see what's going to come of this. We were talking about it when we first heard about it. We were waiting for something for him to give us something, a little bit of something, and now we've gotten a taste, and now we're riled up. So I'm excited. I'm going to wait and see what goes on.
Yeah.
Give
Um,
us more Batman, Superman
more.
crack.
I can't believe that we're sitting here talking about Batman and Superman when we just heard Chewie, we're home.
Hey, we're moving to that. Don't worry. We're
Like,
moving
come
to that.
on.
I am
That's
saving.
nothing.
God, there's so much Star Wars.
They're not
Um,
even close.
Hello.
I'm gonna go
This is what I'm excited
into.
about. I'm always angry. I'm never excited. Let me
Yeah.
have it. All right. I'm always mad about things. I'm not mad about
Nerd
this, but, like,
rage.
Good.
Good. I
Go
was
with
reading your tweets right then.
I know, I'm very angry.
And you and I, Paige, you and I can rage about how there has yet to be a Brother Power the Geek movie.
I think that me and you should meet in the middle.
Are they gonna do a Wonder Twins
and go
movie?
see the movie when it comes out.
Are they going to
For
do a
Batman
Wonder
versus
Twins?
But you're
I hear
right.
through the grapevine they may be doing the Wonder Twins, but if they listen, I have heard that they have been trying to figure out who they're going to typecast for it because they really wanted. People have been asking for it. Us geeks have been throwing it out there for years, and they're like if they can make a couple of these films that we've heard about, a real life thing that we've talked about in the past shows that we're all like, really, seriously, this is a film, then they can do Wonder Twins. But I know for me personally, I'll be pissed if they cast it wrong. I'll be the first person to be like, this is my opinion. And my opinion only. You know the disclaimer. I always make you guys throw it out, but I might have to remove myself from the chair of that show.
Well, they're too
Wonder
old now, but
Woman.
it was supposed to be
Wonder
Donnie
Woman.
and Marie.
We're
I was-
Wonder Woman. That's all I want.
Still waiting
Wonder
for that
Woman,
one.
didn't the director just leave Wonder
Yes,
Woman?
he did. Wonder Woman is gone again. when
Again.
Joss
Yeah.
Whedon walks off the set,
Right.
and when the next guy walks off the set, there is no Wonder Woman.
I was sad. Tears
That was
of
one of my
woe.
first. That was one of my first articles for Ladies of the Round Table. Was
It
about
was.
a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be.
Captain Marvel will come out first.
Captain Marvel. Have you been reading Captain Marvel?
Shazam!
Have you been reading? They're fantastic. I don't
I read them
follow
when
a lot
they
of
first,
Marvel.
not when they first came out, but I read them when I was young.
No,
I mean, that's
but
from.
they rebooted
it.
them.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh,
really
I've been.
really
Yeah,
well
they're.
done.
They come on my iPad, and I read them when I have time.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, we are rounding up to topic number 2. We're going to move into Pixie.
Pixie sugar.
Okay. So we're just gonna go right ahead with the superhero train. Okay. Here's the thing. There are tons and tons of superhero movies coming out. There are a decent number of superhero video games. Let's talk, Arkham. Let's talk Lego Batman. Let's talk Lego Marvel. Like, I want crossovers. My God, I want Marvel DC crossovers.
Good luck.
I want that for my own sanity, because do you know what I love more than anything in the world? Wonder
Dr.
Woman
Pepper.
and Thor. You put the two of them together and it's like baby making magic.
The reason I say good luck is because look how long it took Marvel just to get Spider-Man back. Couldn't even get their own hero back into their movies.
That was Sony's cash cow, though.
Well, they needed to get it back.
Yeah, and they still got to get X-Men and Fantastic Four back.
Well, the problem there is
I
Fox
hear
does such a good
Fantastic
job with
Four.
X-Men.
Yeah, they did
they're
such
not
a good job. Come on.
They're separating X-Men from the 616, and they're making a couple key X-Men Inhumans, so that So that's not good. And I think that has to do with Disney being affiliated with the comics as well. I think that Disney wants to make comics about their movies rather than making movies about the comics.
You know what though? X-Men was good if and only if the fact that Hugh Jackman was Wolverine, and man, that was well casted in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's still pretty interesting going back and like watching the first X-Men with him in it, and then like watching something like Days of Future Past with him.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah.
They cast first-rate actors all across that movie, except with Storm.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that Iman wanted to be Storm. Do you know who Iman is? David Bowie's wife, the African model. She wanted to be Storm, and they gave it to Halle Berry. And I'm sorry, they dropped the ball with that one. I don't know. I don't see Halle Berry being an
I'm just
African
saying
woman
Halle
to
Berry was
pick
also badly casted as Catwoman.
Let's just.
I was going to take it
Let's just
there.
forget about that one.
Let's just move on to the next topic.
Picking on Halle Berry, please.
Okay. Picking on Halle Berry for 600. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Oh. We got some chat questions, ladies. Chat questions. Anybody?
We were too busy talking.
Yeah.
I would like to pick the category "What is bad DC movies" for 200 Bob.
I don't think that we
Green
count
Lantern.
Green
Yeah,
Lantern.
Green Lantern.
I watched
Green Lantern is the easiest one.
I
Oh,
hope.
come on. Yeah.
It's okay. He's gonna bring it back as Deadpool, so it's all good. So,
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
he
that
is.
he
So
was
he's going to Marvel?
yeah, he's got both sides of it.
Paul Rudd. Ant-Man.
But seriously, why?
Ant-Man looks good. I think Ant-Man
It does.
looks
All of a
amazing.
sudden, it looks good. The trailer was amazing.
This is what Marvel did. They bringing out stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man and things people aren't as familiar with as the main heroes, but they're making damn good movies out of them.
No,
They're
but
bringing out our inner geek.
everybody loves.
All I could
Straight
say
out.
is Daredevil done right without Ben Affleck.
Everybody loves Groot. Like,
Marvel is like, here, DC, you can have them. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna move over to my
We're still on
topic.
pages, aren't we? Or are we not?
no, we moved on to why, for the love of all things holy, we can't get crossover video games.
That went over.
I want it. I
We're gonna
want
move
it.
over to my topic because the chat has demanded it. We've been talking about it all day on the Twitter. Each of us have probably been at the water cooler or wherever you're at work, just talking with your geek friends or coworkers. Did you see what we saw? And yes, we are talking about the Star Wars Battlefront trailer.
Can we all watch it again now?
Yeah, let's watch it right now. We'll put the link up. If you haven't seen it, Ian, throw that link up, please. If you haven't seen it, go now. Right now. Stop what you're doing. We'll be here when you get back because you got to see it.
Honestly, as a game developer myself, seeing that in-game footage disclaimer whenever it was shown, I was like, yes, it looks so amazing. Yeah,
Oh, it
and I
says
mean, I
it's
have
in-game
so
footage?
fond memories.
Yeah, right at the beginning. It's right there, right up on
I
front.
don't know about that. That was just too awesome. Well,
Great.
they did.
I think they're
the one
using
I saw was a
Unreal 4.
PS4 version of it, right?
Well,
Because of the
it's
PS4 beginning and end on it.
it's
Yeah,
going to be out for.
Let's just assume that's PC footage.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's going to be out for in November. They
That's a good
say.
call, Richard.
Yeah. In November,
And
they
you
say
need
it's going
Twin
to be out for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. So all
Right.
three is what
It
we're
was
supposed
PC
to be
footage.
getting. So it was PC footage. But I'm excited either way. I may have to get it for the Xbox One and the PC because I know that when I bring it home for Xbox One, my kid's going to be all over it and I'm not going to be able to get to play. And if you don't know anything about the game, I'm going to just give you some little bit of highlights. You know, it's going to be a multiplayer shooter. You're going to be able to go into the famous battle scenes that we've all loved and probably imagined ourselves in time and time again. And you're going to be able to control the different vehicles, the Millennium Falcon. I'm going to say it again, Millennium Falcon. You're going to be able to play as Boba Fett. You know, you can even play as Darth Vader if you want. You got to do it at least one time. You know you will. And then you're going to be able to have campaign mode or single player or co-op missions. So it's all going to be in there, and it's going to cover the basis for each of our game play styles. I know, Pixie, you're a big MOBA person, but are you going to get in here? Are you going to get in on the action and give it a whirl? Who knows?
The reaction to that.
I mean, maybe not. It's hard to say.
Maybe
My
maybe
problem
not.
is I actually really enjoy Star Wars, except for the movies that never existed.
You mean should never have existed?
No, they don't exist. I just pretend like they're cartoons.
People might be saying that about The
I'm so
Force Awakens
sorry.
soon too.
But I mean, I don't know. I would play it at least a few times to see what it's about. I don't know that I would be like hardcore into it and love it to death, but I would probably at the very least play it.
At the very, she sounds so excited. I mean, we're gonna reject your geek card
I
over
think,
there.
is that a win
us
or
the-
a lose? I don't know.
Toaster back.
I'm telling you, if like they put Thor and Wonder Woman in a game, like I'll marry it.
We're still stuck on the Star. We'll move past
Star
that, Pixie.
and-
We'll give you a pass. I'll
You
move
want
over
us
to
to-
Richard.
You want us
Richard,
to like the Star Wars thing so much more than we're
What's
getting into it.
Richard, what say you?
I am so excited for this for a couple reasons. Well, in case a lot of people don't know, this is not the first Battlefront. This is a game that was out on PS2 a long time ago, and I have so many fond memories doing couch co-op with the first and second one. I mean, this one, it's been a development hell forever, and it's finally getting. They canceled Star Wars 1313 whenever. What was it? Lucas's game division got shut down by Disney, and they shut that down, and now they're bringing out Battlefront and all this again, and it's got me so excited just because of those memories playing the first and second ones. I actually like the first one better than the second one because the second one had this very objective based kind of mission thing, but the first one was just like all out battle, kill to the last person, and then you win type of thing. And that's what I'm really hoping to see in this one. I'm really excited about it. So.
Yeah, you and me both. What about you, Nikki?
Oh, definitely. I remember playing, all the Star Wars games I played. Battlefront was fun. And I'm hoping DICE does deliver something that's amazing and that it's not rushed out because the movie's going to come out at the same time. This is a bad scenario for a great game, right? Because games sometimes are not ready when the movie comes out. And those are usually the worst titles. And they're trying to coincide this with launch weekend of Star Wars 7. So I'm kind of weary about it. I want a lot from this game, and the fact that they're tying it to the movie scares me the most. And, add to that, it's coming from EA. You know what I mean? Add to that, it's coming from EA, and they really don't. I'm hoping that Disney puts as much effort in this as they're doing for the movie itself, because it's important to those of us that, have bought games like Star Wars Commando. It's like, this is going to be something that's great. And when I look at my kids downstairs playing Hardline on the PS4, it's a good game. So maybe EA has something in it. It's not bad, it's not great, but it's a good game. So I just hope this is better than average. So that's going to be good for me.
I just wish
awesome.
the game development industry would have learned their lesson after something like E.T. Because they made that game in like 6 weeks.
E.T.
The holiday season.
We keep going back to E.T.
It will never. They will never live it down. They will never live it down.
But I played the hell out of that game. I played the hell out of some E.T. and there wasn't even that much to play. But I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta beat it.
Good movie game that came out during movie release.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the issue here.
Well, I mean, it's such a common thing in game development, and this is another thing they talk about us within the program. I mean, it's something that's never really going to go away because there has to be exhibitions, there has to be showings, there has to be peak seasons and stuff like that, and it's something you have to get around and be able to manage around. So it's so often whenever you're in with a publisher that they do this kind of stuff to you. You either got E3 you have to show the game at, or you got PAX you have to show the game at, and then you got Christmas season. You have no time to put all these builds and crap together just to, make this great game unless you've been working on it for 3 years. That those concerns that you're talking about are very valid. So. But it's just kind of something that's always going to be there. Yeah.
A lot of times people don't understand that, as a developer or a tech company with any kind of things that are coming out in the industry, you're expected to be at those types of shows. It's not will you be? It's you're expected to hit that market and be at those shows. And if you're not, then that hurts your bottom line and your margin and your reputation. So you're obligated to show up. You feel you have to. Whether the product is finished or inferior, you're like, we'll go. All right, we'll do it the best we can with what we got.
Absolutely.
The thing that would be really interesting is if they made a chair that was like a rumble pack that went with this game.
Oh no! All you have to do is
come over several times.
All you have to do is come over my house and play it here with the stereo system we have. The whole house shakes.
No, but think about it. Like having a chair where it's like, and then it like rumbles when you start, and it rumbles faster. And
you totally
they did have that chair.
You totally sparked a childhood memory.
You
Like,
could always sit on the washing machine.
yes,
probably
I'm
spark,
I'm gonna bring my Xbox controller into like my laundry room where I can't see my television, and I'm a fly blind. Got this. I got it.
Use the
What was that?
force. Use
What
the
was that,
force.
Richard?
Oh, I was just saying, you got me thinking about a childhood memory in the arcade where it was I forget what the name of the game was, but it was some 3D tank game similar to like Virtual On. Anybody remember Virtual On? And it had surround sound speakers in the chair, like right here, and it literally rumbled the whole thing. And that was like the first time I sat in an arcade game, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is freaking awesome!" It feels like I can feel the experience of
You
playing
feel the
this
power
game.
between your legs?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That's from Armageddon.
It's okay. It's okay. We're all right.
You would have heard me laughing, but I was stuffing my face with
All right.
Reese's Pieces peanut butter cups, and everything was
Oh.
off.
All right, so Nikki, did we get to your topic yet?
No, we didn't.
All
And
right. Any
for-
chat questions before we roll on?
Before you roll over my topic and get
That's
rid of
right.
it?
Exactly. There
Right
needs to
over
be a
something.
Star Wars battle pod. Ram.
Battle Pod? Oh, that's
The
awesome.
last Star Wars game I played was Bounty Hunter,
Okay.
and then I played a little bit of The Force Unleashed, and I tried to play. Yeah, The Force Unleashed was fun.
Now,
Unfortunately,
Six, if you're gonna have an entire conversation with us, you have to put the Reese cups down
Look,
and put the camera back on.
I'm like a horse with peanut butter in my mouth.
That's asking a lot.
Yes, that's asking a lot.
They
Show
were
up
on
for the
sale
show.
today. They were on sale today.
Come on now, put your effort into it.
All right, so I'll take over now because
Go
it's
for
my
it.
turn. All right, so I'm going to take us back into Wayne and Garth's Wayback Machine. Do-do-do, do-do-do. Yeah.
I was Wayne for Halloween in 2008. So.
Oh, cool.
Hey, where's that picture on Twitter? We want to see
Well,
that one.
What?
That
Yeah.
picture is on MySpace.
All right, bye,
Oh,
guys.
shut up.
Way back. Way back.
Yo, Tom.
We'll just call MySpace the Wayback Machine now, because that's pretty much anytime I say I have music or pictures on MySpace, they're like, "What?" That
The
long
way,
ago?
way back.
That is the way back machine.
All right, Nikki, go for it.
Are you all done?
We're done.
Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk now. Maybe I'll fucking talk now, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Damn, girl.
Sorry, we get one a show, right? This time I took it. No, so a long time ago lived three amazing game developers that worked for the same company and then different companies.
Is that
And
a
they
faraway
did
galaxy?
strategy games. There was Bruce Shelley, Brian Reynolds, and Sid Meier. Okay. So Brian Reynolds moved over to his own group called Big Huge Games and gave us wonderful games like Rise of Nations and Rise of Legends. And of course, like everything Microsoft does, they take a company and totally screw it over and then dump its waste products off on the side of the road when they're done with it. But Big Huge Games is back, and they're actually coming right at one of the most successful mobile franchises out there, and that's Clash of Clans, where people sit there and all day long tap on their freaking screen, making sure they attack each other. And Brian Reynolds has brought us back his Rise of Nations in a new game called Dominations. And it takes that formula that games like Clash of Clans and Boom Beach have created of this constant having to come back, tap on things, and fight people, and actually makes it something that's a little bit more strategy oriented. He puts a tech tree into it. He adds things like having to not just build your forces up, but having to think about layouts and covering, the fields of fire of your different turrets and everything. So he brings back in that strategy game element into a game that we're used to playing if you've been playing iOS and Android games for the past few years. So this is one of those things that I've been waiting for, when the games actually start jumping up past the click the funny looking, wizards and stuff and send them to go kill the people. And one thing that he's done different is that it's not just one age all the time. You actually start off in the Stone Age and end up in the Space Age. And I'll tell you, from playing this game for about a week and a half now, you're probably going to be playing this game for 5 years, because it takes forever, but it's a lot more fun than Clash of Clans. So I don't know if anyone's ever played Clash. I mean,
I tried.
yeah, it's kind of rough, right?
It's very rough. You know, I was like, holy mo cheesemo, I can't.
Yeah, and
I
this,
just
this
can't.
yeah, and this gives something a little bit more involved. And I like seeing game developers like Brian Reynolds coming back to a platform and hopefully reinventing gaming on this platform. Because mobile games need to be more than pay for freaking gems. It has to be.
Yes,
And
indeed.
yeah, and he's made it so
Please.
he's made it that $10 jumpstarts this game, but you don't have to put more money into it afterwards because you're gaining gems by doing quests. If you do the quest, you gain your gems and you don't have to keep buying them. So it's actually a pretty decent game so far. I hope I still say the same thing 6 months from now, you know? So that's it. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at it. I doubt it because it's only been out for a week, but it's pretty good.
I haven't played it yet. No. I have played Clash of Clans though, but it wasn't really my thing.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm just more interested in seeing deeper experiences get on mobile because
Right.
it's such an accessible platform, and honestly, it's kind of making us backtrack a bit, like to the general public, because of games like Candy Crush and
Right.
the associations that has with video games to the general public. It's kind of just like putting us back in that box that we were in, in the late 80s, early 90s, where people were just like, this is kind of just an entertainment thing. This is just a toy or something like that. And I think we need to see deeper experiences on mobile,
Yeah.
like,
Don't-
more Monument Valleys, more, other games like that
Yeah.
that express more.
I find that most of the games that are out there right now insult my intelligence. It's kind of like this is as deep as the game gets. But then I see games like I look at them and there's one called Spirit Lords right now, which is a rich MMO experience, and it's something that you all should look at if you have an iOS device.
I have it.
Yeah, have you played that game?
I have played probably all of 20 minutes of it because I just know that once I get into it, I'm gonna be sucked into it. So I've been trying to stay away from it until, as a matter of fact, I'm child free this weekend. So there will be some time set aside tomorrow to jump in there and give it a whirl. It looks awesome.
But these are the games that I hope that we start promoting when we talk about games on iOS and Android devices, because they make sense to me in that they give a richer, fuller experience. And yes, so I had to download 5 gigs, but at least I'm downloading something I'm going to play and enjoy for a lot longer.
Nikki, have you played Tiny Realms?
I played Tiny Realms. It's like Clash of Clans. I find
it's a little more accessible.
I find it to be a little bit better than it, but I still think I wouldn't call it an insult to my intelligence because we love the guests that we had from Tiny Realms.
We did.
But I think that it's not as involving for me. It doesn't give me that I want to go back and play it again after playing it for a couple weeks.
I think it's a great
cute as
starter
hell,
game
though.
for those types of games if you haven't tried it. But for me, I ended up losing the battle of the iPad to my Mini, and so I haven't been able to get back into that one because she's taken it over. So I think it's more geared towards the younger audience than you or I.
Well, I love that Sid Meier is bringing games like XCOM to the iPad, and he's brought Starships. He just brought his new game Starships, which is based on that same thing as
the
XCOM.
iPad?
What?
Oh, that's gonna be the iPad?
Starships was released on the iPad day one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Paige is like, I don't have it.
I would have picked. I love strategy games on my iPad.
Yeah. Sid Meier is committed to bringing those type of games to the iPad.
Yeah, actually, you know what? It's funny because the only games when I had a Mac, the only games I could play were Sid Meier games that I was interested in. I was always really happy that Civilization was on my Mac. They let me play Mac. But like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. But like, strategy games are perfect on the iPad interface.
Yep.
It's just built perfectly for that. I can't even explain to people, like, I bought my iPad so that I could have fun playing some games when I was stuck places.
I want them to put Age of Empires on the iPad. It's like or an Android.
Yeah.
iPad, Android, that would be wonderful.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So, ladies, have we gotten everyone's topic? I feel like I left off page.
She started talking and everybody
Batman,
just passed her right
Superman.
by.
Yeah, we basically have like
We just went all over the map today.
hammered this out.
Yeah.
We did.
Look, the bottom line is Batman versus Superman is the talk of the town, and Star Wars is
Star
crying.
Wars.
Star Wars is crying in a corner right now.
We're
'Cause
Chewie, we're
Batman
home.
versus Superman is coming.
And Wonder
Right.
Woman, Thor, Bliss.
Wonder Woman meets
Oh.
Thor. There you go. We
Oh,
need
we
Marvel
are-
and DC.
Why aren't we talking about Avengers here? Come on.
What?
Why aren't we talking about Avengers here?
Uh-oh.
Because we have a-
Pages, if
Anyway,
you could
I
have
just-
seen Paige's face where camera's not up, so you missed that expression, right? You know, she was
we
like,
just
what?
like- Can we just kick her for a second so we could talk about like the Marvel stuff?
Yeah, you know
So
what?
I
guys?
wanna-
I gotta go.
Yeah.
Because
I
when we
got a
talked about
thing
what
with a
you've been
guy.
watching, I was pinned to the TV
I
for
wanna
2 years
go-
watching Daredevil.
I want to go over to Richard real quick because I know you've got another exciting project coming up that you were going to hear it here first from us guys. So, get ready to turn your sound back up from Pixie's squeals. But can you tell us about your next project that's coming up that is going to be something kind of special that people may not perceive of coming out of your camp?
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting what you were asking me about earlier too, or what some people were asking about with advice for like aspiring creators and stuff like that, because that's kind of what this next series caters to. So it's called Starving Artist, and it's going to be a web series type of thing where I talk to these successful creators, these people with these big successes, both in indie and AAA development. And we'll be talking to them more about the steps that they took leading up to that process, like leading up to that big success. So the process of the people they met and the decisions they had to make, and basically how they got to where they were before, like the rest is history after that big success. I don't have to retell the person's history as much as I'd like to tell the things that they did to get to that point. And I think it's important to do something like that now because so many people have the ability to make games now that we want to be able to lead the way in terms of showing them the things that other people did that got them to their successes. And it's not necessarily like do this thing and you'll become successful, but it's the lessons that you learn from these things, from the people who burned you, from the people who helped you, to the hard decisions you had to make, maybe regarding dealing with a publisher or funding or anything like that. So it's figuring out the right way for you to go through the steps that other people have gone. And I'm personally very excited about it because as a creator myself, not having that kind of knowledge, not having that kind of insight into the industry has led me to a lot of like dead ends whenever I was producing games and films and other things that I tried to do, stuff that never got off the ground, is because I often found myself in this dark place, like without a flashlight. And so the series is kind of aiming to be that flashlight for people who are still down there and trying to find a way to create their games and create other, forms of media, movies, music, anything really, and take that to its highest potential and not have to wander around in the dark, the entire time they're doing it. So
this particular project is still in development, we're correct. And where will you be sharing information or bits and pieces other than your social media about this project moving along, or maybe blogging?
Other than social media, I mean, we'll get a website up for it eventually. But the show, I'm actually aiming to have the show on the YouTube channel that I also teach ZBrush on, which is called GameStar Arts. And I have like ZBrush tutorials and things like that up there already. I've been teaching ZBrush on it for a while and giving advice videos like myself for people, just like my own experiences. And it'll be up on there. I'm aiming to have it come out as a free series for people. And
Awesome.
we'll have, and that's what I'm aiming for. I hope that happens because I'm funding this whole thing out of my own pocket. So I think what we'll eventually do is have that out as a free series and then have like an exclusive version of it for like a Patreon or something like that, so that people can choose the way they want to watch and support it. Because all the same, coming from that kind of development background and being in the trenches, and I've had so many instances, especially like in my first film, like I don't have to talk about the places I've been because it's documented. So like my bank account being in like a negative balance or something like that, and not having the money to afford anything that I like to do or just to get insight into something else. Like I couldn't even afford an indie game, the movie, whenever it came out. And I was so excited when that came out. I wanted to see it so bad. I eventually coughed up the $10 to do it. But going back to what I was talking about with that, it's me putting myself in the shoes of the people who are going to be watching this, because a lot of times they're not going to have the money to support it, even if they want to. And so I'm giving them the option to watch it. I'll probably be taking ad revenue from it, some way to get back just a little bit of the pocket money that I'm using to produce it. But I'm giving them the option to watch it for free because I know what it's like to be in that situation. I'm not going to take anything away from them in terms of inspiration and anything else they can get from the series. So there will be that option for them.
So guys, you need to stay tuned to Richard's Twitter and his Facebook, and he has a personal website. Ian will be throwing all those links up down there for you to click on and go over and keep an eye out on these projects that are coming up. Richard, we thank you for joining us for tonight's show. And wrapping up the show, we do a little thing called shout outs. Our shout outs are usually just that. By definition, we give a shout out to the people that have helped us along the way, and or our projects coming up, or your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, or your dog, whichever you want to do. It's a shout out. So I want to start with Nikki.
I'm going to give a shout out to everybody that's been going out to my GoFundMe for a new camera for my show, which my old camera is kind of crap all of a sudden. Sorry. But also shout out to, there's Matt Vasa, who is done my, Matt Vasa created my theme music for my show. And then he got a bug, and he went out and created a whole album of music that's Star Citizen based. And I know I hit Star Citizen every now and then, but Matt is an amazing guy. The album is available on iTunes for $10. It's called Forward Reflections, and I really want to use this opportunity to say thank you, Matt, for creating my music, and I hope that everybody goes out there and at least listens to what you have and buys what they like, because it's been amazing. Thank you so much. So that's my shout out. And shout out to you for joining us tonight. I pointed to you, but sorry.
Over
and
here
you, yeah.
And Paige, who's not there.
6. Yeah, let's go to 6.
I'm here. My shout outs are to Gaming Rebellion and Another Castle, and to my girlfriend Gina, whose bachelorette party is tomorrow, and we are going to have a lot of fun.
All right.
See you all on the town. Yeah, she's getting married. It's going to be great. Her fiance lives in Scotland, so it's a long time coming. We're excited the day's coming up.
Is he coming here, or is she going there?
They are going to be moving after they're getting married here.
Okay.
And then they are going to be moving to a mutual country.
Bye, Gina.
Yeah, she'll be moving back. Yeah, they're not gonna. I don't believe they're gonna be moving back to Scotland. But she has citizenship in Europe as well, so.
Well,
they're gonna work something out.
Your friend's been hanging out with Princess Zia Heather over there.
Maybe.
Pinky's up.
It's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting you mentioned Scotland, because I just got invited to screen pixel poetry at the Royal Society of Edinburgh.
Hey, congrats!
Awesome.
Scotland.
Good job.
Isn't that crazy?
No, that's awesome.
Congrats to you, sir. Congrats to you.
Awesome.
Scotland is gorgeous too. Don't turn away a chance to see it, because it's.
Hey, it's all about the Benjamins, yo. It's like he's got to get there.
Man, those views are priceless, though. It's very picturesque. It's a picturesque country. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
You'll be claustrophobic from all the space that you have.
Is that possible?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Is that it for your shout out, 6?
Oh yeah, I'm done.
All right, she's done. So let's go with Richard.
Oh man, am I only allowed to shout out to one person?
No, you can go for it. Rattle them off.
Yep.
Yeah,
The music will start when it's time for you to stop talking.
just
You get the hook.
Or that, or Kanye will come out. One or the
Oh
other.
God.
Kanye will come on our
I'm
show.
gonna let you finish, but no, but no. I mean, I got a shout out to Warren Spector for one, for putting me in this program, giving me the opportunity. Super quick story. The only reason I'm actually in Austin is because I came down here to interview him for the movie, which of course he's in the movie. He has the closing line. So, and then after that interview, he actually found out about my game development experience. Is like, you should apply for this program, and it costs like $75 to apply. And I was completely broke at the time. That was a lot of money to me, but I did it, and somehow I got in. So big ups to him and his team for bringing me into the program, because I've learned a lot from it. Also, big ups to Patrick Scott Patterson, who's been a great friend to me. He's one of those guys who's insanely busy all the time, but he still calls to check up on me every once in a while, see what I'm doing. Just like a really good friend to me. And Chris Wiseman, Captain Redbeard, as everybody knows him. He's been a great friend to me too. It's good having both of those guys in my circle, because they're constantly and enthusiastically supporting me in all my endeavors, which is coming up. That's something I didn't really have a lot of. So it's great to have those guys in my corner.
They're so well grounded, which is so surprising if you know them on a personal level. They're amazing, genuine people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the last one got to go to my mom, because at the same time she's super supportive of me. She's never questioned any of my ambitions, and she just encourages me to keep doing what I'm doing, which is something I don't get a lot of other places.
Awesome. Yo, mom. Keep it up.
Yo, mama. Word to your mother.
Yo, mama.
Pixinator.
You just won my heart by shouting out to your mom.
Yeah, Richard, all the ladies want to know if you're single now.
Yeah, what is this?
I am single currently.
Okay,
yeah.
ladies, you heard it here first. Not you at the table. We're talking about the Twitterverse and iTunes. When you hear it on there, you can just tweet them at this Twitter handle and work that out over there. Don't send them to us. We're not a hookup service. We're not doing the dating thing.
Harmony of the ladies of the round table.
Not that kind of table.
We totally are, guys. It's all right.
That's supposed to be phase 2 of the geek and nerd dating website that'll be coming later in the year. Okay.
Is that a thing?
Pixinator, it could be. You and I will work that.
Shout outs to this show officially becoming the nerd version of the dating game.
Right? I was thinking that. With our first contestant, Mr. Richard.
Let's do it like singled out. Let's get Jenny McCarthy back in here and do it that way.
Shout out to my duo bro. Shout outs to Phoenix Covenant, and the amazing jobs that they're doing over there with that TCG strategy game. Although technically it's an LCG. I'm bad at stuff.
What the hell did you just do?
Words are hard.
English, so hard. What new? And shout outs to Thor, my life mate forever, and shout outs to Wonder Raifu, my life mate forever, and shout outs to Kimmy and Massey. We miss you. Come back, please.
All right, so it's my turn. I am giving big fist bump shout outs to our one and only Bonks, who just announced on the Twitter today where she's been hiding out. If you didn't know and you haven't seen it, you've been living under a rock. She has officially came out from behind the curtain working at NetherRealm Studios on the new MK. So that's where she's been all this time, undercover, working on a fantastic game that we all are waiting.
super jealous of that.
Waiting, yeah. Well, I'll have you guys know that Miss Rebecca, which is our Boggs, has been wanting to work for that studio for probably 7 years, and it was a long road for her to get there, and some disappointments along the way. But she kept up her ambition and kept that goal for herself, and she made it. So, you know, when we talk about the stories of inspiring young kids and not letting people throw you under the bus and put roadblocks in front of you, whether they're family, whether they're seemingly friends, or if they're your teachers, you just keep on going and go for what you want and do the thing. I mean, we're all living proof here that we all love the same things, and eventually we'll get there, no matter who tells you you can't. I tell you, there's some inspiring things going on in my life every day, watching my daughter grow up to be the young woman that I wish I could have been, knowing that she loves these geeky and nerdy stuff and is very smart and is in touch with who she wants to be, but just puts it all out there and is proud of it. Those are the type of kids that I want to govern our society and make the changes for us as geriatric folks by that time. You know, I mean, there's going to be some things going on in our lives that we want people that are intelligent enough to understand that video games and technology is not the enemy of our future. It is what makes us bigger, better, and brighter. So all you kids out there that we're raising the scholarship money for is for you guys. So keep inspiring us to make these changes and keep networking with us, you people in the industry that have helped us along the way. We invite open table for anybody to take a seat and have these conversations with us about the things we love. Geeks and games. Bless you, my dear.
All right then.
My other shout out goes
Hoorah.
to, yeah, that was loud. Producer Ian back there for hanging out with us every week, tolerating us women at the table, and engaging in the conversation from behind the text wall that is chat, and monitoring the chat for us. Ian says, and I quote, "As soon as he works the bugs out for that soundboard, we'll have it next week." I think that's what he said last week, but I'm calling him out, putting him under the bus tonight. Put you on blast,
like
Ian.
a month ago, 2 months
Next
ago?
week, right? Next week, producer man.
Next
There's
week.
no- next week, okay. Next week, and I want to give a shout out to everybody in chat that's been back, and you regulars. Arcade Android, welcome back, kind sir. Your MVP belt is gone. It has been taken from you, so it's about time
No,
you
it
showed up in
hasn't.
chat.
No, it hasn't.
Says page 6.
This was not
But
a unanimous decision.
I am the ruler of this land. It's gone. You have to win it back.
Winter is coming.
Winter is
Nikki
coming.
wasn't
That is
even
right.
here for a vote. You can't take.
No,
away
you want the
from
belt back? You
whatever
gotta
there.
slay us a White Walker.
Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for episode 55, Ladies of the Roundtable LORT Live. We are done for the evening, and producer Ian, roll that credits and that wonderful music, and dance it out, ladies and gentlemen. I said dance it out.
Roll that
Ooh,
beautiful
what
beat,
was that? Paige is
What?
still stuffing her face.
Herb.
That was
roof is
Paige.
still on fire.
Yeah, the roof, right?
What, roof? What do you mean, roof?
God, the roof really is on fire.
We ain't got no water, let the water burn.
Roots is on fire?
Oh, so much fun to be had. Richard, thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good time.
Thank you so much for having